Okay.
Oh, sure. So let's start our events tonight. So hi everyone. Thank you for joining tonight's EWB Night. I'm Rachel, the MC of tonight, and I'm now working in a power company and promoting energy efficiency. So let's have a look at tonight's agenda. We will have 3 components tonight, starting with our monthly news and activity updates, which will introduce you the latest activities and the current activities updates. If you are interested in any of them, please feel free to contact Edward or Samantha. After introducing the monthly news, we have invited Ms. Rebecca Chen, Senior Project Officer of Wu Zichao Bridge to China Charitable Foundation, to share about revitalizing rural communities with youth participation in Hong Kong. Lastly, we will have an interactive discussion with the speaker, where all of you are welcome to discuss some related or extended topics with the speaker. Before starting our content tonight, it's a great chance for us to reconnect again since last met and to get to know each other in this Zoom meeting. So let's do a brief introduction of yourself so that we can know more about you. So please feel free to open your mic and give us a brief introductions or just say hello to our volunteers.
Hello, I'm Edward Chen, the chairman of EWB Hong Kong. Just want to say hello. And tonight we have Rebecca come here, because they just finished a one-day trip in 4 locations in the northeast of Hong Kong. Is some sort of a rural revitalization project. So that's why we invite Rebecca coming. Maybe because I think of who am I, so I'm not going to introduce myself. Maybe the next one. George, do you want to introduce yourself?
Okay, I'm George Chen. I'm trained as a civil engineer as well as a project manager. So I'm the director of EWB Hong Kong and currently focus on the EWB Asia network. So we connected with the EWB Singapore, EWB Malaysia, EWB Philippines. So that's why this year the GCP program service trip is go to EWB Malaysia. So also we get the bi-monthly global engineering get together to connect all our previous EWB Hong Kong volunteer. Currently, they are located into different places in the world, such as Toronto, Montreal, US, UK, and Sydney, Australia. Okay.
So maybe I introduce some of our attendants here, participants here. We have Will Wong. He may be a bit shy today, but he is working in Hong Kong as a. If I remember, Will, you are a structural engineer. Is that right?
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Will Wong, and I'm a chartered structural engineer, and very glad to be here and to listen to this EWB Night sharing. And I have been meet some of your party in this group already, and I'm working now at Airport Authority, and glad to meet you all, guys. And let's have some discussion and maybe share some points. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. And Wendy is was our speaker in EWB Nights a few months ago. Probably some of you may remember her, but anyway, you can find her PowerPoints and also video in our EWB website. And PS is our long-term volunteers. And Chill, you are what's your full name? Because I saw one participant is a Chill iPhone. But anyway, maybe you.
Sorry, Albert, I think you mean QI, right?
Yes.
This is Jenny.
Oh, you're
Hi.
Jenny. Okay.
So,
Nice to meet you.
yeah, I'm still working. So yeah.
Okay.
I can hear the presentation. Yes. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rachel，咁我交俾你啦。
Okay. So thank you everyone and nice to meet you all. So without further ado, let's start our monthly news update. We are happy to have Edward Chen, the chairman of EWB Hong Kong, tonight to introduce us the updates and the information of the event and activities. Edward, please.
Okay. Thank you. Maybe I spend 15 minutes to introduce our updates. Just want to mention, last month we invited our director Raymond Lopinski as well as our monthly star, the speaker. The reason is he just represent EWB Hong Kong, elected as one of the board member in the EWB Internationals, and because he attended the first board of director meetings just a month ago, so that's why I invite Raymond coming here and to and introduce what are the latest plan from the EWB International. And another news is come from EWB International is they just elected the new president. Is come from Malaysia. That should be the first time having Asian chapters, Asian EWB in Asia being the presidents of EWBI. So it's a good news, and also we have already signed a MOU with EWB Malaysia last year, such that we have a stronger collaborations in our projects. So that's why in our GCP program, in the mid of June, we are going to resume our service trip in Malaysia. So our partner is EWB Malaysia. Of course, apart from Malaysia, we also got other EWBs joining the event, including EWB Singapore. And there are some technical guidance for humanitarian response in the internet or from many different organizations. EWB is one of the major international organizations, in particularly serving the humanitarian engineering. So they are looking for our advice or suggestions to them. So they create a link such that if you have any opinions or advice wish to tell EWB International, just click into the link. But anyway, after this meeting, we will share the PowerPoints in our website such that you can get the link and do the survey later. And also we got EWB got a new partnership with a software engineer company. Benny is a 2D and 3D drawing software, and it's popular in the engineering world. But of course, in Hong Kong may not be so popular, but it's a popular system in the North America. But anyway, we are looking forward to find out the details of sponsorship. Hopefully, we can get the software for our operations anyway. And another news is come from EWB Argentina. They just celebrate their 10th anniversary. If you have a chance going to their website or newsletter, you may find that they have a lot of activities over the past 10 years, and they are running apart from running as a charity, just like EWB Hong Kong, what we are doing. They also run the organization like a social enterprise. So they are not charging. They are charging for some for fee for some activities where because they have to run the organizations. But I met the EWB Argentina president some years ago. I found that he is so passionate in charity work, but also is a very good businessman. So that's why he can expand EWB Argentina to a quite good size. But anyway, you can find more from their website and download their newsletters. Okay, I just want to repeat something mentioned last month. Is we have a transformations on EWB core business, or we say that is four pillars of our activities. One is projects, another one is education. The third one is Asia or international networking. Just like Josh just mentioned, he is looking after the international networking, and then we also have another new area is research advocacies, and likely focus on climate, urban, and sustainability. And apart from the four pillars of focus, we also have a six supporting arm have been working in EWB, include volunteer cohesion, IT, software analytics, standard and procedure, secretariat, and also finance. So if our volunteers wish to join any of the group, you can scan the QR code or click the link into that. We create a survey form such that once we got, we are also intending to send an email to all our existing members and volunteers. So we are intending to get a updated volunteer information, and then to reshape the volunteer pool to such that we can have tenants going into four pillars of our focus. And we just I just want to make a new announcement of our appointment of new directors. Is Dr. Vincent Chen. He is an expert in climate and sustainability. So he's going to offer the directorship in the research and in the advocacies. And going to GCP, we are now going to the exam period. So we finished most of the workshops in the past few months, and because the university exam period will be May. So we are going to resume all the workshops, and then the survey trip in the mid of June. And but we still have something happened, just like 2 weeks ago. It's a mentorship program for our GCP students. Yeah, there are some photos in the event. And also we also have organizing committee meetings between Hong Kong and Malaysia, and it's a very important collaboration, because we have been because GCP established in 2018, but unfortunately because of COVID, we cannot go overseas for 3 years. So this our post-pandemic the first time to have our service trip overseas. So we wish to have a better planning because we has been staying in Hong Kong for 3 years already. Okay, about a project on is a serving the Crossroad International in Tin Mun. In March, we have done tries of a structural integrity survey and also visual inspections to 2 buildings in Crossroad, and offer the advice to the organization such that they can have some sort of a remedial work. But anyway, the funding, the result funding is positive, and the building is still intact and likely suitable for continuous use and operation. So they are going to have some sort of minor modifications to tackle the problems I identified. I'm not going to go through the details, technical details, but maybe find another chance to talk about the details, technical details. And we just finished another support to Outlaying Iron Women's Associations. Is a inter-school green lifestyle expo, and our Raymond Wen, our directors, one of our directors, represent us in the event, to join the event. And we also keep supporting or partnering with AIB on some technical seminar and site visits. One is just already finished last Friday, is April 21st, but we also have another one is going to happen in the mid of May. Is going to visit the geospatial lab. Should be in Kowloon Town, I remember. If you want to apply it, just go into the link. And we are the supporting organization for the Hong Kong Green Building Council Green Building Award 2023, and also the supporting organization of Build for Asia. It will happen in the mid of May. Apart from the expo, there are some others seminars and conference in the event. There are diversified topics, including environmental and sustainability topics. And there's another news actually come from the Council of Social Services, because we are EWB is the organization member of the organization. So it's a funding for projects. I'm not going to go through the details, but I can tell if our volunteers or our team or project team, they have some ideas for new projects. There are some, actually it's more than that, because apart from the sponsorship from the link, actually there are some other sponsorship, but just close just past the deadline. But I believe there are more and more funding opportunities in these years. Okay, just keep encouraging our volunteer or newcomers joining our pro bono teams, and of course donation is very important. I'm not going to go through the details, but I'm happy to say we received a big amount of donations, relatively big amount of donation recently. So we just started to employ a part-time staff, the EWB. That is our first staff serving EWB. So we are so happy about it. But if we want to have our own venue, our full-time staff still have a long way to go. So we still look for more and more donations. Okay, I think, yeah, I think it's the end of my reporting. So Rachel, it's your turn.
So thank you, Aaron. There are a great variety of activities and volunteering services. So if you are interested in any of them, please feel free to contact Iris, Samantha, or any other project in charge in EWB. So now we would like to invite Rebecca to share with us about the revitalizing rural communities with youth participation in Hong Kong. Rebecca, please.
Thank you. I'm really glad that EWB invited Wu Chiao, Bridge to China Charitable Foundation, to talk about our works in a rural community with youth participation tonight. And I have prepared a PowerPoint to share, so just let me share my screen, please. Hold on a second. Okay, do you see the screen now? It should be pitch black, right? I'm sorry, do you see the screen?
No.
Okay, so I'll start now. In a rural village, agriculture is not only an occupation, but a way of living. So one works at the farm when the sun rises and rests as the sun sets. The cultural and leisure
Excuse me, you cannot see your PowerPoint.
Yes, it's pitch black.
Okay.
Yeah. So, okay, let me continue. So the cultural and leisure activities in the village could be primitive as well, and such as performance of the local tales, celebration of animal butchering, cooking together and sharing food. And leftovers mixed with all other organic wastes are turned into organic fertilizers by their long practiced wisdom. So every single piece of resources are vital to the village. In early April, I spent a week visiting several villages that the organization I worked with serves. It was an interesting experience to get in touch with these local residents and to observe their daily life. And unsurprisingly, to find out that younger generations have all moved away from these villages, leaving a predominant older population there. I conversed with an old lady and asked her why didn't she move to the city with her sons and grandchildren. And she replied that she had no choice but living alone because of the high cost of living in the city. So cultural changes, globalization, and other factors have encouraged young people born and raised in rural villages to seek opportunities in pursuit of economic profit and personal development, such as better education, job opportunities, and healthcare services. Younger generations in rural areas, in most cases, migrate to big cities, leaving the old in their rural homes, creating the so-called empty-hearted village, an empty nested family phenomenon. Eventually, these left behind residents get older and older. And it is not easy for someone as old as your parents to collect firewood uphill or repair a lamp that hangs on the ceiling to sustain a safe quality of life. And unfortunately, they are pulled back to stay in these villages alone because living in the city is unaffordable to them. But ultimately, humans are social animals. So who would want to live alone, watching yourself living a gradually deteriorating quality of life? Therefore, Wu Chiao Bridge to China Charitable Foundation engaged young volunteers, especially tertiary students from Hong Kong and mainland China, to experience full livelihood and work together to improve quality of life for these remaining residents. Established in 2007, we started by building pedestrian bridges to provide safe accessibility for remote villages in mainland China. But as we build relationship with these places and the people, we find out that there are diversified needs such as various public facilities for public health and cultural activities were identified with the local communities, and they were added to the current scope of our sustainable rural developmental works. This photo shows 3 out of 54 villages that we serve. All these agricultural villages were populated with older persons, and the problem is aggregated by generally less developed infrastructures and fewer public facilities in these places. In this remote area of Shanxi province, a river divides Dongchuan village into 2 banks, as you can see in the photo. Most of them live on one side of the bank, while they go about farming every day on the other side of the bank. So therefore, safe river crossing is crucial. But the only way for them to cross the river is through a small, thin bridge made of bamboo. As you can see, Edward was stepping on it. The accessibility issue within the community was discovered by our student volunteers who were sent there to do prior on-site research. They tested this so-called bridge, but it was already difficult to balance steps, let alone the elderly carrying their heavy crops and firewood to use it every day. When the water level is high, it is even impossible to cross the river. So, after the research, tertiary student teams from China and Hong Kong, under a collaborative network of universities, worked to improve accessibility. There were several researches done and project design and drawing reviewed and revised by professionals. And just a few weeks ago, with prior fundamental groundwork done and checked by qualified contractors, 17 young volunteers and 4 professional instructors of civil engineering background altogether built a safe and sturdy pedestrian bridge in 5 days successfully. The bridge model is designed for easy building by hand. After production of the parts in local factory, manpower is all we needed to complete the bridge on site. The China National Intellectual Property Administration even granted a utility model patent for the Wuzhi Bailey Bridge model. Much applause should be given to our Tongji University student team, who worked with us all along to develop the construction manual for the bridge. And this is the 53rd pedestrian bridge that we have built, and it couldn't have been so successful without the participation of these talented and dedicated young volunteers. On the other hand, Machao village in Gansu province, situated in the Gaoli region of lowest plateau, is around 1,800 to 2,000 meters above sea level. The village was regarded by the Chinese government as low-income village until 2018. As a village has rich soil and earth resources, but lacks natural water supply and electricity, we started to explore what we can do with these resources. Also, the average temperature is around 6 to 9 degrees Celsius throughout the year, which is quite cool, or we could say cold to Hong Kong people. So with all this information, students and professionals put these environmental factors into planning and design. Since 2013, we sent over 110 student volunteers to support them to go there and work with over 40 local villages to build a community hub where villagers could finally have somewhere for bonding. Here, you can see them. They're having bonding by rituals, workshops, or possibly a trading place. So as we see, they have rich soil resources. We identify that rammed earth building techniques could offer an improvement to traditional building methods of cement and bricks. Because this technique employs locally available materials, which is soil and some dried grass, to build affordable and earthquake-resistant compound architecture forming the community hub. So these buildings keep indoor temperature around 17 degrees Celsius, which is warm in snowy days and cool in summer without burning more firewood. The community hub does not only include a library, a kitchen, a canteen, but also include an eco-dry toilet, which turns organic waste into organic fertilizers for farming use. And solar-powered lampposts here on the right side light up the streets to keep people safe from walking in pitch dark at night. And there's also a multifunctional rooms shown in the previous picture for shadow puppet shows to enhance the entire community cohesion and cultural heritage. We put years of manpower effort from our young volunteers and professionals, and it was recognized by the village, and then they even supported us to build a rammed earth dormitory to facilitate a more comfortable stay for our volunteers. What's more encouraging was that this exemplary project also received world-renowned award from the UNESCO in 2017. So at this point, you might ask, were there only people with engineering background or even students with such background to join the program? Well, the answer is no. We recorded a growing number of students from majors in humanities, medicine, social sciences to participate in our volunteer program recent years. The reason for multidisciplinary students actively participating in such program is related to the shifting focus on liberal arts pedagogy of tertiary institutions, where surface learning components, as known as experiential learning by serving communities with theories learned in classroom, are added to their coursework, and thus also leading us to explore opportunities to investigate the cultural perspectives with those village communities. So speaking about that, for example, a remote village called New Zealand in Hong Kong was once populated with Hakka people, which Hakka people is a Chinese cultural subgroup characterized by their own dialect, architecture, food, and way of living. Although there is no permanent resident over there, former villagers, and especially the village chief, are enthusiastic about revitalizing the community. This time, a strong team of young volunteers were not only mobilized to build a community kitchen that serves a public rendezvous to connect the former village community once again through food sharing and to connect them to the public by food culture promotion. We also mobilized a team of student volunteers of arts and social science background to produce a oral history project, which was led by the students themselves. So over the past 6 months, they interviewed the life stories of former villagers who migrated to the urban parts of Hong Kong and overseas, and produced a bilingual oral history booklet about villagers' search of their own cultural identity through the journey of migration. One of the interviewed villagers told us that he was so glad to share the publication to his non-Chinese speaking grandchildren to understand his life story in English. I have prepared a short clip, so let's have a look of what the participated young volunteers said about these two projects. First is a young volunteer who participated in the kitchen building works. The subtitles are in English, so if you couldn't understand Chinese, then just read the subtitles is also fine.
做咗梅子林呢一社區廚房都接近2年，睇住佢由冇變成有，咁村長一路見證住我哋，唔止係一個社區廚房嘅誕生，亦都係我哋一班義工一路以嚟嘅一個成長。
And the other participating young volunteers would talk about his experience with oral history project.
咁呢一本書係介紹梅子林啦，但係比較特別嘅就係我哋介紹嘅係梅子林嘅人，係啦。咁梅子林喺好多年前就荒廢咗，但係好多村民喺呢幾年陸陸續續都翻緊嚟，想復翻呢條村。咁我哋都希望可以透過呢一本書去揾到部分村民佢哋其實佢哋懷住啲咩諗法、咩夢想或者有嘅咩心情翻嚟呢條村。我自己都其實
Right. And so having a focus on youth engagement means non-profit community service agencies like us are on a journey of growing together with the Gen Z. The good news is Gen Z is driven by values and they are ambitious across the ESG spectrum and are attracted to where they feel making a true impact according to the Gen Z segmentation study in 2021 by Ernst & Young LLP. While less developed villages in remote areas provide great opportunities for the young generation to put cross-disciplinary theories into practices. It is a place to experiment their environmental friendly and sustainable ideas, creating from 0 to 1. To me, it is the most difficult process, but definitely rewarding. And all in all, their ideas, dreams, and commitment to carry out real actions to improve the quality of life signifies that young people are becoming a powerful force pushing rural revitalization forward. And I do hope that the younger generation, through serving the villages, will be inspired to care about the other side of the world with compassion and action. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. I think Rebecca raised a few questions for us. The first one is at the beginning is so interesting because you have a totally black screen. So, but you are talking about what happened in many village, in particular in Hong Kong. People go away and leave the village empty. And even in China, even in the mainland China, many young people are working in the city, but but just left the elderly or children in the village. And somehow, because of urbanizations, and more people moving from the rural areas to the city, such that some village actually abandoned. How to revitalize those villages is a question. Of course, urban in the city area, you can enjoy a lot of convenience, but just many of them may remember actually they come from village. They come from somewhere maybe in the mountain or near the river, not the city. So it's a change of the culture and heritage as well. So that is one topic. Another topic is raised by Rebecca, is how to enhance the exchange, no matter it's a culture or experience exchange between students in different locations, maybe in Hong Kong or in the mainland, or just in EWB. We are talking about young persons, not just in Hong Kong or mainland China, even in our global citizenship program, we used to have maybe students come from maybe 6 to 7 different countries. So we are also collecting young people together in one place, that is in Hong Kong, and also in our service trip locations. So that's what I observed, 2 topics raised by Rebecca today. So we have some discussion before the end, because we still have 10 minutes to run our salon.
Yeah, sure. So, thank you for Rebecca's speech, and the speech is so inspirating. And so, if you have any questions, so please feel free to open your mic or type your questions in the chat box.
Because we are EWB, you can speak any language. If you want to involve your discussion, no matter you want to speak in Cantonese, English, or Mandarin, that should be fine. Maybe Rebecca, you can raise the questions for us. 你可以問翻問題。
Okay. I'm not sure how many of you are born and raised in Hong Kong, and how much culturally immersed you are in Hong Kong. But the one thing I observed when I went on a trip in April in mainland China, and also worked in New Zealand for some time, I observed that the context of rural revitalization for these 2 places are quite different. In mainland China, these villages are often populated with elderlies, but at least they have some population there, and so you could talk to them and understand what they need, and then to find out how you could help them with your engineer knowledge, your green concept, and how you could design something sustainable for the village. But however, in Hong Kong, quite often we actually some days ago I searched on the World Bank's data and see that Hong Kong has 0 rural population, which is really funny, and it's also true, I believe. So take New Zealand as an example, there is really no permanent residence there, but the village is revitalized and opened up primarily for former villagers to get together again to build their community, but also it serves as a tourist spot for local travelers, or maybe eventually for mainland travelers or overseas travelers who opt for a more in-depth experience in Hong Kong. So the contexts are quite different, and perhaps it also affects how we design our rural revitalization works. I'm just expressing what I observed, but just feel free to express what you think about the difference in the context, or any knowledge you know about these villages and sustainable developments. All welcome.
I think tonight maybe Will and Jenny, they experienced the life in the mainland and Hong Kong. Of course, they are both living in the cities. I don't know what because I actually has been living in Hong Kong for so many years. But of course, I've been to China for many times. I can see the big difference over the past decades. Many village already modernized, and transportation is much more convenient. At least they have a concrete roads connecting from cities in the village. So the actual distance between cities and village or rural areas not really far as what we expected. So but it doesn't mean people will move from the city to the rural area because of job opportunities and another topic. Will or Jenny or Wendy, do you have any your personal view about village? Should we spend efforts to revitalize those village, or just okay because city is much more convenient? What do you think? Or Rachel, what do you think?
I'm Jenny. So yeah, I agree with Everett what you just you mentioned. Now I think the village is already a bit of a more modernized now compared to previously, because I can tell the government also invest a lot to rebuild the village. Like now there is a term called 新农村. I'm not sure whether you have ever heard it before. 新农村, new village.
Oh, please explain.
Yeah, and because I went back home few months ago, and I found a lot of new development in my hometown, which is in Jiangxi province, and there's a lot of attractions, even in small village. There are a lot of I can tell the government they try to invest more to build a new image of China, so-called 新农村, and also so-called 中国梦. Yeah, so this is my my point of view, but I also agree with Everett. Still for young people, for big cities like Shanghai, Guangzhou, Shenzhen, they still have more opportunities for young generation to have more opportunities to find a better future. That's why I'm here in Hong Kong. Yeah. So yeah, just some sharing, little bit sharing from my point of view. Thank you.
Right. So Jenny's action has emphasized how important economic pursuit is.
Yeah, I think as young people, they have a right to, I mean, to they are they're offering more in cities. But I still I feel there's a trend. There are more young college graduate students went back to their hometown to find a job in government. It's a new trend.
Mm-hmm.
Because now they find it's not easy to survive in big city, and life is much easier to live in hometown because they have a connections, support from families.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah.
I have another observations over the past 3 years. Even though we come across COVID, we still the city or the world is still working. We still keep our job and we still have meetings every day. Of course, we go through those meetings online, just like we have EWB Night online. And at the same time, Will is now in Shenzhen and we are now in Hong Kong. We can do it in this way. And the job opportunities over the past 30 or 40 years, there are a lot of labor-intensive works in China. So people has to get together, maybe in the village or in a town or in the city, and so they have to working face to face and do some sort of manual works. But nowadays, because we are going to a knowledge economy, 知識型經濟. You may aware many of the job, of course, for the service job, just like maybe a hotel service or restaurant service, you expect a real person, a real human being coming to serve you instead of a robot. But in many other occasions, actually you can work even you are remote from the city. So we can see the change of the economy structures and the growth of the knowledge-based work opportunities, leading to possible accommodations of young persons, no matter in the city or in the village. So that is something we can see the change. But of course, will it really benefits to the village? I don't know. But of course, in terms of a carbon footprint, we have a small place and the transportation is maybe you just take 30 minutes going from your home to the workplace. So the energy consumption will be less than traveling from the village to the city. And so I don't know how to say that if you are talking about the carbon. But in terms of the change of work opportunities, maybe village is another chance for our young persons. That is what I'm thinking. I'm not sure whether it will happen, but it seems what I observed over the past 10 years.
Hello, Edward.
Hi, hello.
Yes, this is Renee, and may I share our experience about village?
Yeah,
because
sure.
I just visit Yunnan. I traveled to Yunnan in April, and then because there were many villages, so I visit the village, and then I observed quite interesting. I got some interesting observations. I find that many young people in China, they return to village to establish their business. So the village that I visit is not that not well developed that I expect. The local people tell me that because the city in mainland China are too competitive, so some of the young people they used to working in the big city, and then they feel like too competitive. So after several years of working in the big city, they return back to the village and probably they open some coffee shop, cafe, or shop that are selling clothes. So there's a interesting observation that when I travel in Yunnan. So I'm not quite sure in mainland China there's some changing, and then it changed the traveling changed my mindset that the village, I think it's now there's something changing. Some of the young people they willing to go back to the village and establish their career, but maybe it is not the not for the minority, not for the major development. But I find some of this trend or some observation in some of the village.
Yeah, thank you, Wendy. Yunnan is a beautiful place. It's a beautiful place. Yes, and also in the city we have more socializing opportunities, but of course the lifestyle and also the natural environment in the village is really amazing compared with we are stuck in a tiny residential building in Hong Kong. So okay.
Hi, sorry.
Yeah.
Hi everyone. This is Bill, and
Yes.
maybe I want to share something I'm thinking about. I just
Yes.
heard the presentation about the some village, and one is from Shanxi province. Actually, is I'm also come from Shanxi province. So yeah, based on my observation, around 20 years has passed. I'm a high school student, and now the population have decreased a lot. I would like to see in the especially at the small towns and villages. I remember when I'm in middle school, one class may have eight students in one class. It's very crowded. But now I heard from some friends. Now the middle school just have 30 people in one class, and some school have been merged into one, and some school have been closed. So people are leaving from they're changing from the small towns to the city, and also even the you can see the province in the large city is people are also maybe decreasing. People are thinking about maybe lot like previous to want to have more children. So I think this is the same at the big city like Hong Kong and other Western countries. So I have read a paper side this year. India the population may maybe have more people than mainland China, and this induce one I'm thinking about this just in the presentation is if the people have been licensed in one village and in a small town, maybe the public service and the utilization something maybe became less and less convenient. So I heard it's from the mainland China's government is thinking about to relocate the whole village to a new town. It's for more convenient transportation and to serve the people there. So I think it's a very huge project. Also, it's called in mainland China, the word is called 乡村振兴. Maybe in English is to make the village greater again, maybe something like that. My point is if the people get less and less how to make the get the people still live there very convenient. It's a very very hard work. So the transportation in mainland China is very important. So we can say all people are calling mainland China is doing a lot of civil engineering, the mega projects in mainland China, something like that. I think all the things are linked together. It's not just because of why China has more transportation, the building works are doing. It's because it's due to this population, due to the huge range of the area and a different development in different area. So it's all things combined together, not just single problem. Yeah.
I think both Renee and Will have shared different perspectives of the village development in China. And it's true that I've read the papers from the Chinese government that they have, I think they have identified like 3 kinds of villages. The first one is like the traditional ones with high values, high cultural values, high touristy values, and so they are more willing to put efforts and resources to develop those villages and to protect them as they could generate income and other strategic values to the country. And there are some villages, I think the second type of villages is they will gradually be filled up with older generation, and so just let it be that kind of village. And the third one is they have a really low value of development, and they might have also suffered from some environmental problems that it's no longer strategically valuable to put efforts and resources to there anymore. So they kind of just let it go and maybe relocate people to other cities. So that's what I read from the papers issued by the Chinese government.
Yes, agree with you. So the treat is in different ways to see what kind of the village or the town it is and what location it is. Is it convenient for transportation and to the water resource and other for the economy and etc. It's very complicated. Yeah.
Yes, true.
Okay, I maybe let me make a conclusions before I hand over to Rachel to close out the EWB Night tonight. It seems through the discussions from all of you, there are two locations we are talking about. One is the mainland China, and for the village or rural revitalizations, it seems to be more focused on government actions. They have a well-organized plans, maybe how to revitalize those village or to inject or to change the economy structure of the village, or even relocate some of the village to somewhere. Those are government actions, and I understand there are a lot of possibilities for the village. In particular, we are talking about the carbon net zero target 30 and 60. That means we are achieving net zeros by 2060. So Wu Zhijiao has put a focus on low carbon village development. So that is a possible topic. Even though there is strong government actions on the rural areas, but still need a lot of including us is civil organizations supporting many different aspects. No matter it's a climate issue or other social or other. But anyway, there are a lot of topics you can think about in the mainland China. In Hong Kong, it's a totally different because we are mature. We have a mature cityscape, so and we have a very convenient transportations, and we all just used to travel to somewhere, anywhere in Hong Kong within 1 hour by transportations. If we are asking you to go somewhere, you have to take 2 hours. I'm sure if you are going to for holiday, that you will be happy to do it, but for day-to-day work, you should say no. So in Hong Kong, it's totally different. But you can observe from the PowerPoints shared by Rebecca, there are a lot of heritage in Hong Kong. So how to strike the balance between the city continuous development and the heritage conservation, or even revitalize those villages is another topic. And also Hong Kong is not the government action is not so strong, relatively is not so strong. So that means no matter is a civil society or private sector, they have more opportunities in those villages. So that is something worth to rethink as well. Okay, maybe I hand over to Rachel.
Sure. So thank you, Rebecca, for the inspiring speech. And so thank you so much for all of your comments and your views. So before ending today's event, shall we take a group photos by switching on your cameras? So maybe if you wish, please feel free to switch on the camera. Yes.
View 喺屋企都好似着到返工咁嘅喎。Okay, ready, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. OK，得唔得先？如果唔得就再影過啊。你哋咦？係咪冇影到咧？咦，真係冇影到喎！原來撳錯掣啊 ，sorry。OK，再嚟過。OK。
Thank you, Edward.
Thank you.
So thank you for joining us tonight. So have a nice day and see you all in our next event. Bye bye.
Okay, the next event will be talking about data science. About AI. We are going to have the flyer very soon. Okay, see you next month. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.